Good evening, everyone. Right, tonight, gonna build a wheel. Well, we're at least gonna lace a wheel tonight because, well, it's quite late. Not long just finished work, and I need to build this wheel. And so it's not important for anyone. It's just I need to build it. So yeah, let's get to it, and I'll show you how I lace up a wheel. And thank you to everyone that hits that like button and subscribes to the channel. It does help me out massively as well. So, on that note, let's go. Well, welcome. So, XT hub, yeah, that looks nice. And that is going on a Mavic 717 disc rim. So no V-brake, this one's disc. So 32 hole, I have already got the spokes measured out. Now for demonstration purposes, I've made the drive side of black and the non-drive side is silver. 32 spokes, so we've got 32 nipples in the middle, and this is how we're going to do it. So straight into it. So you do your Shimano XT hub, feeling very nice, feeling fresh, brand new. So we're going to start getting our first couple of spokes in. So on this hub, you want to be looking, if I grab, because the drive side's facing me, so I've got a drive side spoke. So you want to see that XT logo just sitting there. So you want to look at the hole that the logo is lining up with, and then you're going to count to the left 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and you drop that spoke straight down there. Now the reason that we counted 3 from that logo is basically when we put the twist on, the logo will line up with the valve hole. So we're going to drop that on, and that is working to the left of the actual logo itself. So you went 1, 2, 3 to the left. Drive side spoke in, straight down, and hold it so it's running center down that hub, center of the hub. Then you get a non-drive spoke, drop that to the left, straight down on the non-drive side. So then when you lift that one up and that one up, they're pretty much left and right. So as you see there, keeping that first drive side spoke in, and then the one that you've dropped straight down next to it to the left is obviously a non-drive side, it sits on the left. So what we're going to do, we're going to get both of those like that, keeping the non-drive side on the left, is we're going to pull the wheel, and you see the valve hole just there. Well, we are going to go to the left, so again working to the left of that there. So if I move, and I know I say so a lot, so so looking on, there's your valve hole. We're going to go to the left of that valve hole there, and then still keeping that exactly the same hub wise, you're going to put it in the 2 left holes, right, just there. Let's tighten some nipples on there, and tighten another nipple on that one. So now what you've got is right here, you've got what I call generally the cradle. So that's your cradle just there. So when the wheel's fully up, that's where that kind of sits. So we're going to stick with the drive side, because you've got your drive side spoke to the left of the valve hole, and then the spoke that's to the left of the drive goes in the left of that one. So they're your 2 main starting spokes. You get that right, you can't pretty much go wrong from here. And obviously if you're building a wheel, it doesn't really matter if your logo don't line up with the valve hole. It's just one of those things. I'll put a picture as to why, when that's turned like that, I do a close-up of that, so you can see it. So we're going to stick to the drive. So drive side black spokes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look down at the spoke that you've got in. You're obviously going to miss one, and then again drop that one straight down. So you've got that spoke there. So from there you want to go 4 furlong. So obviously that's non-drive side, drive, non-drive side, drive. So when you come to do this, you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's the 4th hole along. So if I put another spoke in there. So now what we've got is that. And basically what that is, your first spoke left of the valve hole, the one that you drop straight down on non-drive, left of that spoke. So from that spoke you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then drop your 4th one straight down, and then straight to that hole there, number 4. So you then continue that all the way around the hub. So 1, miss 1, 1, miss 1, 1, and then you go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now what I'm doing is I'm working just on the drive side. Just on the drive side now. I've got the non-drive side spoke in. That's a reference to obviously getting the non-drive side done. So now we're just going to go around, drop one down, miss one, drop one down. So we're just working to the left right now of that valve hole. So we will speed through this a little bit quicker and try and keep it all in the camera for you. So I'm literally just following all the way now from that left spoke that I dropped in, left of the valve hole, and then we start getting this pattern emerging. Drop that down, and then again missing 3, drop that in the 4th, put a nipple on, and then same with another one, drop that down, count 4 along, and drop that in. And then the last one on this side for now is all of that. So go 4, there we go. So now we come back to the valve, there we are. That's the first and second spoke that we dropped in with that cradle. So now I can see obviously the silver one I dropped straight down onto the non-drive side. So what I'm going to do now is work, and I'm going to go as I did to the start. I went left and dropped it straight down. So now I'm going to miss one and drop it left and go straight down on that side. So now this is the first of the non-drive side going in. And then what I'll do is whip through this quite quick, because all I'm doing now is going round and basically every 4th hole again. So gone down, miss one, go down, like that, and then you just whiz around, going to the left and going straight down, and then just go to the left of that spoke. I know you kind of to the left, and then drop that down, drop that in, and I think I've got 2 more on this side. So again, drop down, miss one, drop down, go left of that first spoke, then another one. So again, just following that same pattern all the way around, and I'll show why in a second. And then the last one on this side. that's all them in, like that. So when we hold the wheel down, you can see that the valves there, they're the two first spokes, the cradle that we dropped in to the left of the valve hole. Starting with your first spoke you put in your hub goes in the valve next to the left of the valve hole. Then you set your non-drive, drop it straight down. That gives you your reference for that. Then you just follow every four all the way around the wheel like that. And now it's time to basically put the turn on the wheel. So what you're looking for is a good turn like that. The reason that you're doing it to the left, and again I say working to the left because that's what I've just done. So I got the hub, I turned it to the left, anti-clockwise to the left. What that will do is when I start putting this next couple of sides in, is where your valve hole is, you won't end up with a tight triangle like that. You want it to end up so when you've seen a wheel laced, you've got quite a big hole all the way from that valve, just to make sure you've got full access to that. And in putting that twist on, you've also, if I can show it, so there, where's my finger? So there is the valve. So as you can see, when you look through, if the light can get it, I will put up a better picture, but you will now be able to see the actual logo of the XT going down there as you look through that valve hole. There we go. But I will make it look a little bit better. So anyway, right, keeping that twist on like that, that's your drive side. So far I've worked everything from the drive. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wheel as it is. So you've got drive side, non-drive side, right and left. I'm going to now work from the left. So while I'm holding that hub, I can see that as this is, I've got the spokes going in the right direction for one. We know the hub's lined up now. So what we now do is, you can see these ones are sitting externally to the hub flange. So now we're going to work, and the reason you'll see in a second why we flipped it over does make it easier. So it don't matter which hole you start from at this point, because you are just following that pattern there. So, and obviously we know that if the spoke's external there, it's got to be internal there. Now this is a cross-free pattern, so it's on these, it's under, over, and as you can see there, I can then line that up, and that is going to be my first spoke that basically holds the actual rim, so I don't have to worry about the twist. And obviously if it's not fully eyeletted, to save it from dropping in your nipples into your rim, you can always use the same spoke up for that side that you're using, just to give you a bit of guidance. So the wheel, it doesn't matter what I do, how much I move that around there, just by working from this left side, under, over, and as you can see, silver, black, silver. So you don't want two silvers next to each other, so to speak. Obviously most people would build either just silver or just black, but I'm doing this just to kind of go through it with you. So silver, black, silver. So now what you do, this is again a fast bit. So now you're just working totally on this left side, getting all those last spokes in. And because you're kind of doing it on this side, you're not fighting against spokes. So it does make it quite easy to drop them in. I do have a little spoke tool somewhere that I do use for poking in the nipples like that, because you don't want to lose them in the rim, because then you're shaking the rim and all the rest of it. So now I just quickly go around, drop it in, pull that up. I always put my finger over the end of the end like that. When if I've got to move it past any spokes, I always keep my finger up, just to make sure that when you pull it through like that, you're not putting a massive scratch in any part of the rim. So straight away, make sure, because the last thing you want to do is build someone's wheel for them and put a dirty scratch straight down a nice rim. And obviously there's a lot of expensive rims out there. So now what we'll do is we'll just whiz round with these. Make sure just dropping it straight down, following that pattern, and just remember under, over, and then you put that in. Obviously when a wheel is built, you're only going to be winding on those nipples only by half, basically, just to make sure that while you're moving it around, this isn't kind of going anywhere. So because we've been working to the left, and we just move them around, go under, over, and then drop that into the actual rim. There we go. And then you just basically drop down. And then once you've started following this, you do generally get fast. And you can generally drop multiple spokes in at once. For me, I don't know, you could probably, if you're following a really easy pattern that you've got used to over many years, you can generally just get a lot quicker and just drop multiples down, because then you're not having to reach down and so on and so on. And then I'm going to use the drive side spokes. I've pushed the last two non-drive side spokes in, so I'm just going to grab that nipple on the end of there, drop that into that. I'll wind that on just a little bit as well. There we go. And the last one comes up, finger covering the end, just so I'm dragging it around so I'm not touching that rim. And again, and then I'm finishing up under, over, and finishing this side of the wheel straight in like that. So that's all the non-drive side now all put in. And as you can see, that's now all coming together. Now, what I'll show you now, for example, is if I flip this back over to the drive side and I find the left-hand valve, the valve there, and the left hand is the first one spoke that we put in, then the second one, and we've worked on that pattern all the way around. We've put on the drive side, and now you can see silver, black, silver, and it's got that long kind of gap that I was talking about, rather than it crossing over like that. Once it's tightened up, obviously you don't want the valve to be in there. So you've got this nice gap now. So what we can do is now we can flip it back over, and this is where I say, like, you've got the one coming out, one inserted, one coming out, one inserted. On the drive side, obviously we've only dropped them straight down, so we want the spokes coming out towards us. So when you come back to the left hand side, now what you can do, and this bit really speeds it up as well, because obviously there's only one hole you can go from on the side, and you know that basically those spokes have to all go on that side. So push that down, and again I'm literally just dropping every spoke into the hole on that side. -1, because I'm going to need some for the actual nipples. So you've got all these spokes now hanging down there. So it don't matter which one you want to grab. So you're gonna obviously grab the top one because I've missed one there, and then on this side, these spokes, because you've just inserted these, you've got to do the opposite. So whereas this one is coming out, you're now going to go over, over, under. The same one coming out there is going over, over, under. So flip it back round to the drive, and now you can go over, over, under that one, and then that one goes straight there. So this is where having the last spoke helps, because as you can see, that spoke is probably about 1 mil away from that spoke hole. So I already know that the length is good. So now we can go around, move to the left, over, over, under, and then get that in as well. And this is what I mean, this bit is relatively quite quick. I'm literally going over, over, under, straight in, and then next one, working to the left again, under, under, over, and the next one to the left, over, over, under, and you're literally just following. It's really that simple, just starting from those first 2 spokes like that, and then you're just following that pattern to the left from the start, and then a couple more left to go. And then that's that one, and then the final one, so over, over, under. Well, it's not the final one, there's actually one last one which I'm using to drive the actual nipples to the actual spokes. And then the last one, following that pattern, and then over, over, under. The last nipple, you can struggle putting this one in. No, managed it by hand. There we go. There we go. So all the spokes are now in. So we finished on that drive side. So on the drive side, you've got the label facing you as well. On a lot of newer rims, you do have them on both sides, but a lot of the older ones, only one side of the rim is branded. So we start back where the valve is, just there. Valves there, and then we've worked all the way around, and we've got that nice big opening. You've got all your little triangles next to it. Obviously, when you look through the actual valve hole as well, you can see the actual XT logo just there. So that is now all built, all put back together, and you can see silver, black, silver, black, silver, black, silver, black, silver, black, silver, black, all the way around. I know that you would be building this, but if you was training, for example, or showing anyone how you lace a wheel, it just makes it easier. So you can see that I've got no silvers next to each other and no blacks next to each other. Everything's following the pattern, under, under, over, under, under, over, and then obviously the spoke going in the opposite direction is over, over, under, over, over, under. Start at the valve hole, move to the left, and then keep that idea of always work to the left, and then you can now start basically truing up and tensioning up that. And as you can see, just only a slight little bit of movement, but everything's only wound down halfway on the nipples. So that is that wheel put together. There you go. wheel building and just basically just lacing this wheel, making sure it's obviously all set and ready to rock and roll. So working to that left is definitely a lot easier for me, and the way I build it is obviously a little bit easier. Obviously if you've got a non-disc rim, there is a slight difference which I can show you at a later date as well, and we'll go from there. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and hopefully that's been helpful, or if you want to drop any comments or questions, feel free. And hopefully I got the camera angles good enough so you could see the process throughout. So we'll see when I check this back. So on that note, looking forward to the next bike in a couple of days, so hyped for that. And thank you to everyone that watches, likes, subscribes. You guys are legends. So have a good evening, and have a good evening.